Hey everyone, it's Jacob, and I'm here today with a battle replay for the game Total War The Dawnless Days. Today's battle replay being sent in by one of my subscribers, Ellan Enish, who I have to say, thank you for sending in the battle replay. Now for anyone else out there who wants to send in battle replays for me to cover, you can either send them directly to my email address, which is linked in the description of my channel, or you can send it to the Discord server for Total War The Dawnless Days. With all that said, today's battle replay is an open battle between an army of Erebor, led by Ellan, and an army of Gondor, led by Deval. I believe that's how you pronounce it. With that said, let's press play and check out the two different armies. So, checking out the Erebor army, it's led by Dane Ironfoot, supported in the rear by a unit of Erebor Spear Guards, with range support being provided by the Erebor Axe Throwers. In the front, we've got more Erebor Spear Guards providing flank support, and then a couple of units of the Dwarven Warriors, tier 2 infantry of the faction, and then supporting them in the middle of the line, we've got the true heart of the army, the Erebor Axe Warriors, the tier 3 professional axemen. And then on the other side of the army, we've got more Dwarven Warriors and a unit of Erebor Spear Guards. Looking at the Gondorian army, its general unit is an elite Knights of the Silver Swan, one of the most beautiful units in the game as far as I'm concerned. So they've taken up position over here, whereas on the other flank, they've also got two units of more Knights of the Silver Swan getting ready to attack, or rather getting ready to take up position to be able to swarm the Erebor army. Then looking at their force, they've got a unit of Fountain Guards pikemen on their right flank, a very elite unit. Pretty cool one, although I do kind of question putting your pikemen this far out without anything to flank them, because it means their flanks are now open to being hit by cavalry, or, well, no, not cavalry, but they could be swarmed and attacked. Then you've got a unit of Penath Galen Spearmen providing support, and a unit of Warriors of Lossarnach, Gondor's representative shock infantry. Then in the core of their army, we've got a couple of units of the Gondor Sword Infantry, Gondor's standard unit, which from what I can see appear to be missing textures on their shields, which is kind of interesting, the same way that the mountain in the distance is missing textures. Then providing the rest of their army flank, we've got a unit of Warriors of Lossarnach, another unit of Penath Galen Spearmen, and the Fountain Guards. Also, just looking at the map in general, it appears that this battle is being fought outside the Gates of Moria, so this is being fought on the Azanol Bazaar map, I believe. Even though looking at Moria itself, it seems to be glitching out, what with the water seeming to go up the mountain rather than down it. So yeah, here we've got the two armies ready to go. Looking at the Gondorian army, it has the added strength of having cavalry, which means it is massively mobile and can hit like a truck. However, Gondor is also now lacking archers, which means they don't get any ranged power. In comparison, Erebor, which never was really much of a maneuverable faction to begin with, is lacking cavalry entirely in this battle and only has range support instead, so it kind of balances out both sides. So yeah, we're going to press play and we're going to see how both sides go. Well, we're going to press fast forward and see how both sides go. Also, as you can tell, a lot of units seem to have chevrons on them, so they're all playing at a better than they standardly would. Also, looking at the balance of power, both armies are very evenly balanced, with only a couple hundred troops between them. Also, there was another thing I was going to mention that seemed to be bugging me, and I had it in my mind, but I seemed to let it slip. So that's what I was going to say. Although each side is kind of balanced out by lacking cavalry but having archers, or having cavalry and lacking archers, the range power of Erebor means that they can kind of force Gondor to respond to their plays in a way that Gondor necessarily can't, if that makes sense. And now we've got assault columns moving up, getting ready to attack. Love that the Erebor Axe Warrior officer has red underneath his clothing. It helps, underneath his armor, it helps him stand out. And there we have it, the units moving up, getting ready to engage. And who will be the first to engage? Will it be these Dwarven Warriors or the Axe Warriors? I honestly can't tell. It might be these guys over here who engage first. Is it? Nah, it's these guys here for sure. And in they go, and there we have it. The the first clash of infantry, with the Gondorian officer fighting right in the middle. The brawl extends over here, and now fighting has broken out on all sides. The pikemen getting ready to deploy. And then the spearmen run in and break up their formation. Not exactly the smartest thing. And yeah, from what I can see, Erebor's very much taking up a defensive block formation, with their spear guard providing the wall, while inside their walls they keep their upranged forces and their general. However, they've left a gap, and in is going to come the Gondor general to cause havoc. And he slams straight into the Erebor axe throwers. However, he's being met by fire from the other axe throwers, which makes sense. You may as well maximize your efficiency. Like, if they've made an easy target for themselves, why not take advantage of it? So it makes you wonder, did they intentionally leave that gap there because they knew cavalry would come in just to get swarmed? Something to consider. And out goes the Knight of the Silver Swan, leaving a couple of their bodies behind. I don't know if I'd call that a fair trade, losing them that much in the way of heavy cavalry for just a couple of skirmishes. In they come again. That dwarf goes flying, but now Dane is ready and he joins the battle. And just like that, now the Gondor general has been caught out of position. This guy's going to get swarmed. There he goes. And just like that, the Knights of the Silver Swan have lost almost half their effective strength. So, not exactly a ploy that paid off as far as I'm concerned for them. Elsewhere, the lines seem to have stabilised more or less. Both sides have been kind of evenly balanced. The cavalry have been kept in reserve, which is smart. You don't want to squander them too much. However, in other parts, you can kind of see that Gondor's infantry are being swarmed. The cavalry just charged no good avail. They would have been better off served holding back and hitting the dwarves in the rear. By going in the front, they've kind of wasted a charge and probably hurt their men more than anything else. Speaking of charges, in come these guys. I'm guessing they're trying to aim for the dwarves, instead they're going to end up hitting their own men. That was brutal. That was very brutal. I loved it. And now the Knights of the Silver Swan are called out again. And death is going to be rained down on them. And there's a general in his nice smart red cloak. If I was him, I would be hightailing it out of there. And there they go. Pulling back a bit. This over here is foolish, however. There's Dane oh my god, Dane just decapitated that man. That is gruesome, but also awesome. I guess we could call it gruesome. He's left himself wide open to being charged by the cavalry, now that his men have been held by the pikes, and yep. Dane is going to lose more than a few warriors that little ploy. Over here, however, I have a feeling that the Knights of the Silver Swan are going to lose even more. Yep, if I was him, I'd get it. There goes his escort. Is the general going to make it? Oh, axe to the back of the leg. And an axe to the back of the head. And there goes the general. He's killed, his unit shatters. And now do a couple of the other Gondorian units, which frees up these guys now to come storming in. And these spearmen are about to get flanked bad. And just like that, the balance of power has definitely shifted in favour of Erebor. Don't get me wrong, Dane lost a fair few men there, and if I was Deval playing as Gondor, I would be hitting Dane right now. I'd try and kill their general as quickly as possible to try and balance things out. And good God, just look at the corpses littered everywhere. This unit of Erebor Axe Warriors is breaking. Picked off by the cavalry, fair enough. So at least they were able to kill one unit. Charging back in again, but I don't think it's going to be enough. And they've got to play to their strengths, and charging into the strength of Erebor, which is their front, it's not going to work. And what units that Gondor does have left are now being swarmed. That dwarf got kicked like a sack of potatoes and then stabbed in the head and stabbed in the shoulder. Charging back in again. It's going to do much. Kind of a flanking charge. Not too bad. Over here we've got the pikemen and the spearmen and the swordsmen fighting side by side. Love these pikemen just being drenched in blood but going forward. And this image of pikemen and swordmen standing side by side is really reminiscent of the age of pike and shot, when you'd have musketmen, pikemen and swordmen fighting side by side. There's something about it I really appreciate. We always love a good, gruesome, drawn-out battle. But looking at the balance of power and the numbers, I think it's quite safe to say Gondor isn't going to be coming out of this the victor. It is interesting to think of what is the backstory behind this battle. How did Erebor and Gondor end up coming blow to blow? I mean, considering it, given that you can kind of assume that Gondor has marched directly onto the gates of Moria itself, that's quite an achievement, but still. In come the Knights of the Silver Swan, and they've run out of gas almost entirely. Dane now leading the charge. And these warriors are, yeah, not exactly in the best position. Watch it from the cinematic mode. By the way, if I didn't mention it before, there is an FPS counter on the corner of my screen that I have just not been able to get rid of. If any of you guys have any suggestions how to get rid of it, please leave them in the comments. It'll mean the world to me. Yeah, you can see what I mean about like their textures kind of glitching out a little bit. Who will win this battle? This dwarf or this Gondorian? He got pushed back, joined another fight. Okay, that's a bit more better, that's a bit more cinematic. Rather than being stuck in the shadows. And there we have it, a Pyrrhic victory for Erebor. So, pretty essentially, Ellan Enish came out on top and has defeated Deval. We're going to finish off the replay and then we're going to check out the unit stats and see how both sides did. And here we are, people, looking at the end screen. We can see that Ellan Enish's Erebor army sustained significant casualties, losing over half their fighting force, whether Deval, leading the Gondorians, lost almost all of his army, barely a quarter of it surviving. Looking at the individual units fielded by both sides, the army of Erebor had a lot of chevrons on almost all of its units, with only a few lacking them. Now, the general unit, Dane Ironfoot, he did pretty alright, getting 108 kills. The rest of the Dwarven warriors did a bit of a mixed bag, all things considered. These guys got 97 kills, which are pretty good, but apart from that, not great. The Erebor Axe Warriors, we were even more professional, didn't do that great either, not scoring that many kills. These guys got 62, but even then, not great. As for the Spearmen, This unit got 133 kills, or should I say the spear guards, they got 133 kills. Pretty damn good. These guys got 93, not too bad. Then as for the ranged forces, for pretty much a militia unit, they didn't do too bad, getting 53 kills and 73 kills. This one got 13, but even so, like these two units in particular help provide that little bit of extra support to help push the battle over the edge. Looking at the Gondorian army, their general unit got 64 kills, which is kind of It's a bit of a mediocre score for such a powerful unit, however we know why, it was because it kept getting picked off. As for their professional Gondorian sword infantry, they didn't do too great. This one got 70 kills, which is an abomination of a score, but even so, it's not too good. The shock infantry did really poorly, which I kind of suspected because the Warriors of Lost Ark aren't that great of a unit as axe infantry, or should I say as shock infantry go. Then, looking at the spearmen, they did poorly. Again, not too much of a surprise there, but to only get 8 kills is pretty damn bad. Then the pikemen, this unit of Fountain Guards did pretty good, getting 133 kills, over the other one did significantly less. So a pretty mixed bag, all things considered. Then as for the rest of the cavalry, this unit of Knights of the Silver Swan got 132 kills. So of all the units, these guys and the Fountain Guards were the ones who contributed the most to even coming close to victory. Whereas for Erebor, their best unit was either, could say, Dane Ironfoot, or probably most likely this unit of Erebor Spear Guards. So there we have it, people. If you guys have enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. We are a small channel, so every little bit is massively appreciated. Now, if you guys want to send in battle replays, as I said earlier, feel free to send them in to me any way you can, and I will try and get to them, and I will try to cover them. With all that said, this is your host, Jakov, signing out.